sea or ozone in the Gambia is not just a source of livelihood, or it's not just a source of food for us, but this is very attached to the identity of the people, because there are people that know nothing apart from fishing. So meaning ozone is so attached to their identity that if there's no ozone, there'll be no identity for them.
European demand for fish meal is depleting fish stocks in West Africa. So what happens on a day-to-day level when a fisherman returns home with an empty net?
But I would say the Europe, especially the EU Gambia fishing agreement, is worse than any fishing agreement that I've ever seen in my life. Because imagine taking all the tuna and leaving nothing for the West Africans. Now fishermen will go to the sea and come back with almost empty-handed. And these people have no other skill than fishing. So if you take away all their fish, what you force them to do is to look for another alternative. And someone at the age of 40, someone at the age of 45, it's going to be very difficult for them with their kids to look for another alternative of livelihood. So they actually give them no option but to stay back home. It's not only taking all their fish, but it's also destroying their fishing nets, because they have to fish, they have to move very far in order to get a fish. So moving very far means that you definitely have to have a class with these industrial fishing vessels, whom some of them are from these European countries. Because Gambia, for example, has little monitoring system, because our navies are not that equipped to be able to protect our marine species.
Now, you've been inside the fish meal plants. What struck you the most visually, but also emotionally, as you watched the fish being processed just to be exported?
The most troubling thing is how you see a fresh fish that's supposed to be on the plate of the local people being processed and taken to a country where the community even don't know what it is used for. Processing a raw fish that is meant for human consumption to fish another fish is not just ethically and morally wrong, but this is an injustice meant towards the poor and defenseless people who have nothing but to rely on this sardinella and bonga, which is the most affordable and the most accessible thing. But also the water, the sea, that used to be a treatment for you if you have a skin rashes, is a water that turned to be a source of skin rashes for you, because the water is so contaminated that even the porters and the fish carriers are all experiencing skin rashes, because the fish meal are discharging their untreated wastewater into the Atlantic Ocean with the belief that they are going to be sent at least 300 meters inside, which is not true.
Now, women also play a crucial role in local fishing economies. What are the women in fishing communities, especially those who work or process or sell fish, how is this crisis affecting their work and their families? Can you talk a bit about the women?
Women play a critical role in the Gambia. Not only in the Gambia, but I would say West Africa. For in the Gambia, the women are usually the fish processors. They are the fishmongers. But recently, if you go to where they are fishing, like where they are smoking their fish or drying their fish, it's completely empty, because they are competing with a big industry like fish meal factory. So for example, FAO just built what we call a fish smoking centers for women in the Gambia. But the same FAO is supporting aquaculture. The same FAO is promoting that farm fish are sustainable without telling the people where the feed is coming from. The feed is coming from the plate of the local people. The feed is coming from the local people that's supposed to eat just to feed another salmon. They are places where FAO built are completely empty, because the fish that's supposed to be smoked there is a fish that was taken to the fish meal factory. Imagine 600 tons of fish daily. Gambia with just a coastline of 80 kilometers, and you have 3 fish meal factories daily. And this has been continuing for almost 8 years now.
You've worked in human rights and migration. How often do young people tell you that they're leaving because the fish and therefore the future is gone?
As not just an advocate, but a researcher and also investigative journalist, I have seen and I've experienced. In fact, I am a victim of this. My family members will leave, some of them who are especially has a relationship with the sea, going to fish. Before, you have only 20 liters of gasoline just to go to the sea, and you have enough fish. But now you need at least 80 or 60 liters of gasoline just to go to the sea. And the only thing now they do is to use their vessels or their boats that's supposed to go for fishing, turn into human smuggling boats. And one of them told me, Mustapha, you know what? If I have 20, because usually these boats can take over 200 people, and people pay from ranging from 600 to even 1,000 euros per person. He said, my one trip is more than my entire life of fishing. And the youths, what they keep saying is that they take all our fish. We are going to Europe to struggle with them.
Now, despite all of these challenges, are there any examples of community resistance or maybe even alternative solutions that you've seen? Like, how are people adapting? How are they fighting back?
There have been so many resistance. First, it was a challenging, because what happened is Gambia coastal communities are communities that are governed by traditional rules. We have elders. When they say yes, we cannot say no. So they capitalize on this because we cannot argue with elders. Whatever, they call it good investment. They call it development, but for me, it's just a destruction. It's not a development, because development is supposed to bring impactful things that are going to benefit the life of people. So now people are changing that mentality. So there is that gap is now been completely bridged. So the young people are standing to demand better, and this led to so many protests and in fact burning down of the fish meal factory. So you can see now there is more even demand for the Gambia to even cut down or to cancel their fishing agreement with EU, because it is not really benefiting the Gambia. It may benefit few people, individual, but not the country as a whole. So now young people are demanding better, and also are demanding a complete closure of these fish meal factories.
What do people in Europe and in other parts of the world need to understand about how their seafood choices affect communities like yours?
The people in the West, especially Europe and America and others, should understand one thing, that is the so-called sustainable salmon farming is not actually sustainable. They need to understand that. They need to demand where the feed is coming from. Taking a live fish to feed another fish is not sustainable. And the other thing is, they need to understand that everybody is talking about migration. Everybody is saying that, okay, enough is enough. No. But did they know the root cause of migration? If you stole my future, you stole my job, the only option that I have is to struggle, despite knowing that this may lead to end of my life, but I will struggle to go there so that I can compete with what you have there. So what they need to do now is to demand accountability, to know where the feed is coming from, to understand that salmon farming is just a disaster, but it's not a development, especially for the local communities in the Gambia, Senegal, and Burkina that are struggling, having almost all their sardinelle and bonga, one of the most amazing fish, with omega-3, is all going to feed the salmon farming. So they need to understand that this is not just a challenge, but this is a strategy for the people of West Africa.